I'm Zahir, Kelvin Abdullah, and this is Nightline. The top stories: government committed to ensuring the implementation of Madani economic reforms has minimal or no impact on the people in general. And investigations into Faisal Halim case ongoing. Police urge more suspects to come forward. Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said that the government is committed to ensuring that the implementation of Madani economic reforms has minimal or no impact on the people in general. The Prime Minister said, therefore, the government has taken steps to implement the Public Service Remuneration System, SSPA, and the progressive wage and minimum wage policies to help the people improve their quality of life and develop their ability to adapt. Anwar was speaking at a town hall session of the Madani government's two-year program and the 2024 National Convention on Public Service Reform in Kuala Lumpur on Saturday. Anwar, who is also the Finance Minister, said reform efforts such as targeted subsidies, if not done, will weaken the country's economy, fiscal strength, ratings and investment.
Walaupun naik kecil, harga minyak, harga tepung, harga gula, harga minyak mentah, semuanya itu lebih rendah ketimbang semua negara jiran.
Thus, Anwar said he hopes that all parties are ready to improve the country's economic and fiscal capacity to make the Fiscal Responsibility Act a success. Also present at the session were both Deputy Prime Ministers Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof, Cabinet Ministers and Chief Secretary to the Government Tan Sri Shamsul Azri Abu Bakar. Anwar noted that subsidy rationalisation was also proposed by the previous government, but no one dared to implement it, and described the two-year period as too early to see the full effectiveness of the government's efforts to sustain the economy. However, the Prime Minister expressed confidence that the government's efforts will bear fruit with the cooperation of all the people, including the private sector, in ensuring that the government's salary policy can be implemented and improve the people's living standards. At the same event, Anwar also stressed that the success of the Madani government in leading the country during these 2 years is the result of political stability in addition to the support of a clear policy. The excellent performance of the administration led by the Prime Minister is also evidence of commitment to public service. Anwar stressed Malaysia's success also involves the participation of the Malaysian people in various fields. He is even confident that the people are ready together with the government to raise Malaysia to a higher level on the world stage.
Tapi satu kenyataan yang harus diingat, ini dimungkinkan kerana sistem politik yang stabil. Ya, dan kestabilan itu berkat kerjasama pimpinan negara. Banyak anjakan yang dilakukan oleh mereka. Dan keberkesanan pelaksanaan dasar ini adalah kerana komitmen atau iltizam barisan penjawat awam yang menunjukkan kesediaan mereka untuk melakukan reform dan perubahan dan pelaksanaan yang jauh lebih cekap sekarang.
He explained that Putrajaya is committed to implementing various initiatives focusing on the needs of the needy groups to raise the quality of life and economic status of the people.
Saya masih yakin seandainya setelah melihat kemampuan kita 2 tahun ini dengan pasukan dan penjawat awam dan sektor swasta dan kegairahan anak-anak muda yang diberi latihan, kalau kita dapat teruskan, tingkatkan sedikit lagi, apa yang dikatakan dalam istilah pengurusan sekarang, nudge sikit lagi, saya yakin insya-Allah beri ruang kita lihat wajah Malaysia di dalam negara dan di seantero dunia akan dilihat Malaysia yang gagah, yang baru, yang hebat.
The 2 years of Madani government program started with the recitation of declaration involving by more than 500 civil servants. On another note, Anwar hit back at critics questioning the cost and involvement of private companies during his recent overseas trips. He said everything was done according to procedures, with the business delegates having to pay for their own cost.
Mereka menyertai rombongan dan membayar kos. Itu pun jadi salah. Jadi negara ini kadang-kadang kalau kita layan sangat, yang curi, yang rompak, yang sakau, itu dipuja. Tapi yang kita cuba jalankan program cara bersih, itu dicerca. Ini dikatakan zaman edan. Separuh gila.
Anwar also said that the government does not focus on trivial statements as he believes they do not contribute to nation building. On Friday, government spokesman Fahmi Fadzil said Anwar's recent working and official visits abroad was borne by the government, while the business delegation that joined the Prime Minister's trip were fully funded by their respective companies. Meanwhile, police have collected more than 2.1 million ringgit in summons payments on the second day of the 60% discount offered during the Madani government's second anniversary program. Federal Traffic Enforcement and Investigation Department Director Datuk Seri Muhammad Yusri Hassan Basri said that as of 5 p.m. on Saturday, a total of 24,390 traffic fines had been settled. The My Baya PDRM platform saw the highest number of transactions with 17,201 summonses paid, resulting in 1.5 million ringgit. On Friday, police collected 2.1 million ringgit in traffic fines on the first day, with a total of 24,000 traffic fines having been settled. The top three most paid summonses were for traffic obstruction, ignoring traffic signs, and speeding. The Kuala Lumpur Declaration Tekad Bersama Perkhidmatan Awam Malaysia represents the commitment of civil servants nationwide to fully support the public service reform agenda. Chief Secretary to the government, Tan Sri Shamsul Azri Abu Bakar, said the declaration launched during the 2 years of Madani government program and the 2024 National Convention on Public Service Reform on Saturday will be signed by all state government administrations.
Kita semua di peringkat persekutuan maupun negeri bersatu hati untuk mengangkat martabat perkhidmatan awam yang berorientasikan kepentingan rakyat. Pada tahun depan insya-Allah kita akan lihat pelaksanaan reformasi yang lebih menyeluruh dengan pengenalan iltizam perkhidmatan awam yang akan kita angkat sebagai satu akta di peringkat persekutuan.
He said this in his speech at the opening of the Dua Tahun Madani program and convention. Shamsul Azri, who recently marked his 100th day as the Chief Secretary to the government, said more comprehensive reforms would be evident next year, particularly through the introduction of the Iltizam Perkhidmatan Awam, which will be enacted as a law at the federal level. The Special Task Force on Agency Reform, STAR, would be further empowered to realize the public service reform agenda, with key initiatives being worked on include circulars on bureaucratic reform and regulatory testing. These circulars will support the systematic implementation of reform to expedite service delivery and make dealings with the government more efficient, faster and accurate. Shamsul Azri also expressed optimism that Malaysia is on the right track to achieve its vision of becoming a developed and inclusive nation in line with the goals of the Madani Economy Framework, supported by proactive measures taken by the government. Police have never halted investigations into the case involving Selangor FC player Faisal Halim, who sustained serious injuries in an acid attack last May. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussain said that the police remain committed to uncovering new information that could aid the probe. Razaruddin stated that since the investigation began last May, police have recorded statements from 23 individuals, while 3 suspects have been detained to assist in the probe. However, no evidence has linked the suspects to the crime. He added that the Criminal Investigation Department also examined the suspect's bank accounts but found no suspicious transactions. The attackers also used a fake number plate. A photo fit of the suspects was also released to seek information from the public. However, no substantial information has been uncovered to further aid the investigation. Razaruddin also urged anyone with information to come forward and assist in the case. In Pahang, 3 people, including 2 policemen, were injured in a head-on collision between a patrol car and a pickup truck on Jalan Kuantan, Kuala Lumpur in Maran on early Saturday morning. The crash occurred around 3:25 a.m. near SMK Maran 2, while both cops attached to the Maran Police Headquarters were en route to Jengka 19 to investigate an accident. Maran District Police Chief Superintendent Wong Kim Wai said preliminary investigations revealed that a pickup truck driver suddenly lost control of the vehicle, causing it to swerve into the opposite lane and collide with the patrol car. The impact caused the patrol car driver, 38-year-old Corporal Muhammad Razif Hamzah, to sustain serious injuries on his left hand. His colleague, a 29-year-old Sergeant Muhammad Zahir Hafifi Azman, was injured in the chest. Also injured was the 48-year-old pickup truck driver. All 3 victims were sent to the Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah Hospital for treatment. The accident is being investigated under the Road Transport Act. Starting next week, Malaysians travelling to China will be able to enjoy visa-free entry for up to 30 days, doubling the current limit of 15 days. This move comes after the Chinese government agreed to widen the scope and extend the visa exemption period for Malaysian tourists. The Chinese embassy in Malaysia, in a statement on its Facebook page, announced that the visa-free travel extension will be applicable from November 30th until midnight on December 31st next year. The statement added that the extension applies to ordinary passport holders of Malaysian citizenship who come to China for the purposes of doing business, sightseeing, seeing relatives or friends, making transits, attending exchange programs or making visits. However, those who do not fall into the above listed categories still need to obtain a visa before going to China. Pangron Su Yin on track to clinch maiden title. Actions from 2024 China Masters after this breather.
Tak nak menang hadiah bernilai RM1 juta ke? Kalau nak, datanglah uji bakat Kopi Soda 1 in a Million. Hujung minggu ni di Kuantan City Mall Kuantan dari jam 10 pagi hingga 10 malam. Nak datang seorang boleh, 2 boleh, bawa 1 keluarga lagi on. Apa tu lagi? Jangan lepaskan peluang 1 dalam sejuta ini untuk memenangi hadiah bernilai RM1 juta. Kopi Soda 1 in a Million, segar rasa, sedap suara.
Rongga misteri telah melenyapkan seorang wanita warga India, G. Vijaya Lakshmi, di Masjid India Kuala Lumpur. Kesannya, keselamatan ibu kota negara dipersoalkan. Nantikan pengalaman dan pandangan pakar secara eksklusif di Majalah 3.
そうそれのせいで別れたの？なんで俺に言ってくれなかったの？
明君に会うことを湊に話してたし。
Silent setiap Sabtu dan Ahad 7 malam di Yoshi TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Dua terbaik untuk minggu keempat, Syihah dan Ida Zite.
Kini juri memberikan cabaran untuk tema minggu ini.
Minggu ni aku yang nak pilih.
Oi.
Masih Dayu apa?
Woi.
Bersediakah para duo memberikan persembahan yang memukau hati juri? Saksikan Family Duo Ahad ini 9 malam hanya di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
We're back with sports. It's confirmed. Experienced Danish coach Kenneth Jonassen has been appointed as the new national singles head coach on Saturday. The much-anticipated development was announced by Badminton Association of Malaysia BAM acting president Datuk V. Subramaniam at a press conference after the BAM Council meeting at Academy Badminton Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur. Subramaniam said Jonassen, who signed a 4-year contract until 2028, would officially begin his duties starting January 4th. He further stated that BAM is optimistic that Jonassen and coaching director Rexy Minaiki will help end the country's wait for Olympic gold at the 2028 Los Angeles Games. Boasting a proven track record of producing world-class players, the Dane is tasked with transforming Malaysia's current crop of players, including Leong Junhao, Justin Ho, Ng Se-yong and Yeo-jin Yu into world beaters. During his 11-year tenure with Badminton Denmark, Jonassen oversaw the rise of two-time Olympic champion Victor Axelsen. Still on badminton, the 2024 China Masters, national mixed doubles shuttlers Hu Pang-ron and Cheng Su-yin continued their giant killing run at the Super 750 event as they reach their first World Tour final in Shenzhen on Saturday. The world number 23 duo toppled Hong Kong's world number 7 Tang Chun-man, Se Ying-sweat 21-14, 17-21, 21-19 in a thrilling 65-minute semi-final encounter. It was Pang-ron Su-yin's second win over Chung-man Ying-sweat, a former world number 2 in as many matches. The Malaysians will take on China's Feng Yangxi, Huang Dongping in the final, aiming to clinch their maiden trophy. Earlier, mixed doubles pair Cheng Tangji and To Yi-wei saw their run cut short by local favourites Yang Zi and Dongping, losing 18-21, 13-21 after 46 minutes on court. The national duo will next compete at the season-ending World Tour Finals in Hangzhou this December. On the squash, the 2024 Singapore Open, it was the end of the road for Malaysia's top squash players Ng Yen Yao and S. Siva Sanggari, who failed to clear their respective semi-final hurdles in the tournament on Saturday. Ian Yao failed to get the better of top seed Ali Farag of Egypt, losing 11-13, 11-6, 9-11, 6-11 after a hard-fought 52-minute semi-final clash. Siva Sanggari also met the same fate as she fell to her Egyptian opponent, reigning world junior champion Amina Orfi, with a 5-11, 6-11, 12-10, 8-11 defeat. Both of them will now shift their focus to the 2024 Hong Kong Open. On to football, the German Bundesliga. Harry Kane scored another hat-trick as Bayern Munich defeated Augsburg 3-0 on Friday, sending them 8 clear atop on the table ahead of Tuesday's Champions League clash with Paris Saint-Germain. After a goalless first half, the England skipper gave Bayern the lead in the 62nd minute by converting from the spot following a handball by Augsburg's Mats Pedersen. Augsburg were reduced to 10 men in stoppage time when Kelvin Scholterbeck made a reckless challenge in the box in which Kane calmly converted another penalty. Kane then added to the visitors' misery by completing his hat-trick several minutes later with a composed finish, marking his 7th hat-trick since joining Bayern. The win kept Bayern at the top of the standings with 29 points and ahead of second place RB Leipzig. Sara Duterte threatens Marcos' assassination. The details when Nightline returns.
Orang Sarawak, stand by. Kami orang mau ke Sarawak tu. Uji bakat Kalpis Soda 1 in a Million kembali lagi dan kali ini kami akan ke Kuching, Sarawak. Ayuh, jom kami hadirkan diri pada 23 dan 24 November ini dari jam 10 pagi hingga 10 malam. Layari media sosial Kalpis Soda OIAM TV3 untuk syarat penyertaan dan maklumat lanjut. Jangan lepaskan peluang 1 dalam sejuta Kalpis Soda 1 in a Million. Segar rasa, sodap suara.
Laporan ibu bapa kata ada keracunan makanan. Bila saya nak cek, Saya tengok keadaan dapur teruk.
Berwaspada terhadap kebersihan makanan dianggap cerewet.
Premis persekitaran yang kotor juga boleh menyumbang kepada pencemaran makanan.
Tahukah anda makanan tercemar boleh mengundang maut?
Apabila kita masak, kita kena masak dengan sempurna.
Awasi kebersihan, elak keracunan. Perbincangannya dalam Hello Doktor, Ahad 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Yang paling kritikal lah sekarang ni, yang hingga sekarang terasa sakit, lutut saya lah. Lutut saya pecah, terbelah, pecah dan hampir 4 kali masuk besi, buang besi sebab oleh kerana sakit.
Kadang tu malu pun ada sebab macam kita meminta-minta kan. Saya sedih kalau orang tahu mungkin kehidupan saya kan.
Paduan seni dan teknologi menterjemah aspirasi seni masa hadapan.
Macam-macam boleh replace kita hari ini kan. Kita memang nak kolaborasi buat benda yang baru dan exciting supaya kita semua boleh belajar.
Proses penghasilan kasut ni dia sangat teliti. Terolahkan dia punya corak bagi nampak elemen batik, flora dan fauna tu.
Sabar adalah pokok yang utama. Kerana apa? Doa seorang isteri yang baik bakal dimakbulkan sikit demi sedikit.
Welcome back. At least 11 people were killed after 5 Zionist missiles flattened a residential building in a densely populated area in the heart of Beirut on Saturday. Lebanon's health ministry, however, said the death toll could rise as emergency responders dug through the rubble looking for survivors. The powerful blast, which shook the capital at 4 a.m. local time, had also resulted in 63 injuries and destroyed an 8-story residential building in Beirut's Bastard neighborhood. The series of strikes also caused extensive damage to blocks of flats surrounding the destroyed building. Following the attacks, the regime issued more forced displacement threats for southern Beirut and carried out several air raids, with one leveling a building. The escalation comes after U.S. envoy Amos Hochstein traveled to the region this week in an attempt to broker a ceasefire deal to end the more than 13 months of fighting between Israel and Hezbollah. Meanwhile, in Gaza, at least 19 people, including children, have been killed in Zionist air raids across the territory on Saturday. According to Gaza's Civil Defense Agency, more than 40 others were also wounded in 3 massacres caused by Zionist airstrikes in the Gaza Strip between midnight and Saturday morning, as well as by tank fire in Rafah in the territory's south. One of the strikes hit a house in the Zaytun neighborhood in the north of the territory, killing 7 people, while another strike in the city of Khan Yunis claimed at least 6 lives, including 3 children. In Nusayrat, 4 people were killed in a strike on a house, and in Rafah, along the territory's southern border, 2 young men were killed by tank fire. At least 32 people have been killed and dozens wounded in renewed fighting between Sunni and Shia groups in northwestern Pakistan overnight on Saturday. Officials said the death toll included 14 Sunnis and 18 Shias, while another 47 were wounded in the violence which took place in Kuram. It was reported that the armed men in Bagan and Bachakot torched shops, houses and government property, while intense gunfire was reported between the Alizai and Bagan tribes in the lower Kuram area. Educational institutions in Kuram have been closed and a curfew has been imposed in the area due to the severe tension. The violence was the latest to rock Kuram just days after a deadly attack on a convoy in the same area killed dozens of people. Philippine Vice President Sara Duterte said on Saturday she would have President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. assassinated if she herself were killed, prompting Marcos's office to vow immediate proper action. In the dramatic sign of a widening rift between the 2 most powerful political families in the Southeast Asian nation, Duterte told a press conference that she had spoken to an assassin and instructed him to kill Marcos, his wife, and the Speaker of the Philippine House if she were to be killed. In response, the country's Executive Secretary, Lucas Bersamin, referred the active threat against President Marcos to an elite presidential guards force for immediate proper action. The Presidential Security Command immediately boosted Marcos' security and said it considered the Vice President's threat, which was made so brazenly in public, a national security issue. Duterte's office, in the meantime, did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the presidential office's statement. The 2024 U.S. elections have finally lowered its curtain, with the Republican claiming a huge victory over the Democrats. This outcome positions the Republicans to push forward their legislative agenda, focusing on key issues such as tax reform, immigration policy, and regulatory changes as they seek to consolidate their power in Congress. Our intern journalist, Kabir Aziz, files in this report.
President-elect Donald Trump secured victories in all 7 key swing states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, which proved crucial to his overall election win. His success in battleground states came from strong turnout among base supporters, effective targeting of irregular voters, and a focus on immigration and the economy, resonating with key voters. The Republicans gathered the major votes in the U.S. Senate results, as they won 53 seats from a majority of 50, as opposed to Democrats, who won 47 seats. This Republican majority in the Senate will enable smoother confirmation of Trump's appointees and help push through key legislative priorities. As for the lower house results, the Republicans have also gained the majority, winning 218 seats, while the Democrats won 212. With this huge victory, it will significantly bolster Trump's presidency. Now let's talk about some of his plans. When you hear Trump's name, his policy on immigration remains a prominent issue, particularly his plans for mass deportation during a potential second term. He aims to execute the largest deportation operation in U.S. history, targeting millions of undocumented immigrants, especially those with criminal records or deemed security threats.
November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. And on day one, I will launch the largest deportation program of criminals in American history. We're going to get them out. We have to.
This ambitious plan could impose significant financial burdens, costing billions annually and impacting communities that rely on immigrant labor. It is often complicated by countries like Cuba and Venezuela, which frequently refuse to accept deportees.
So without them, even though just 50% of them, I think the services provided by the labor will increase, and the product that they produce will increase too. So this is basically, yes, the American, when hear this promise from Trump, they are very happy about it. But again, the consequences are that the services, the products will be much more expensive, and the burden goes to the consumer.
The world is also looking forward on how Trump would go with his proposed tariff increases. He aimed to propose 10 to 20% tariffs on all imports and 60% tariff on goods from China.
So we lose 300,000 people a year to drugs entering from Mexico. And if they don't stop this poison from flooding into our country, and they can stop it by not accepting it from China, and I'm doing the same thing with China, we're going to tariff the hell out of them.
While the tariffs are intended to protect American jobs and generate revenue, they carry risk of increased inflation and potential backlash from international trading partners.
And this tariff has been proven that it will retard not only the economies of America and also China, but it will retard the growth of economy for the whole world globally. It is very dangerous that Trump used tariff as a means to get something else.
Trump is set to be inaugurated as the 47th President of the United States on January 20th, 2025. The inauguration process includes a ceremonial swearing-in at the U.S. Capitol, where the President-elect takes the oath of office, marking the official start of their term in accordance with the 20th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Kabir Aziz, Nightline, TV3.
Concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as Algeria hosted the 6th edition of the International Saharan Tourism Festival in the Algerian desert, aimed at promoting the country's tourism. With that, I'm Zahir with Kelvin Abdullah. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend.